And welcome once again to the Hilton Hotel in Blackpool, setting for the World 8-Ball Pool Championships. If you're with us for the earlier two men's team semi-finals, I'm sure you'll be looking forward to the final. That's where we are now. Let's just confirm what happened in those two earlier matches. England beating Wales 11-7, and then a real nail-biter between Ireland and Australia. Australia just going through 11-9, and that means the final looks like this. It's England, the defending champions, against Australia. Well, I'm delighted to say Neil Blake is with me in the studio, a beaten quarter-finalist last year. Neil, this should be quite a final.
I think this is going to be a great match. Australia needs to come out all guns firing. Yesterday, they came to a close match because they just didn't get going for the first two sessions.
It's obviously important to get the sort of batting order right, if you like, isn't it? And a good start is vital. I think if we look at the graphic for the two teams, you'll be able to see that you were making the point before we started. Those opening three matches there, Jason against Alec, Chris against Quinton, Phil Harrison against Tim Shelton, vital.
That's right. Australia put their big guns up first, and let's see how it's going to go.
I just wonder, one point while we're looking at that, Lee Kendall, the captain, he's only a substitute. That just indicates the strength, doesn't it, of England, the defending champions?
That's right. I can't really see Australia doing a similar sort of thing with their captain. They need Alec in their side. But the England side's got strong 8 players, and they can swap and change as they like.
I just wonder what sort of final we're in for. Is it going to be very tactical, very slow, very negative, or are we going to see lots of positive shot making?
I think a lot to go on the breaks. If the break's open, then it'll be open flowing pool. If the balls clutter up, then you'll see some tactics.
Anyway, glad you could join me. I hope you enjoy it. We'll be back with Neil a little later. Right now, though, we can go off to Jonathan. He's with the Australian team.
Thanks, David. Yeah, you mentioned a batting order. Well, we all know just what the Australians have been doing in the last decade in the world of sport. They've been dominating it, and we know that as Englishmen for sure. And they're going to do it now, they say, in the world of 8-ball pool. And as you can see, they're just behind me here. Alec Everanades is a man who's been a part of this team for a long time. You won this event in 1996. How good is the team compared to that now?
Oh, I think the team's a lot better this year compared to '96 because we've got a few more stars in the team. The rules have changed and we've all got used to the rules a lot better, and a few more attackers in there, so we're out to get them.
The England team have dominated pretty much this event for the last few years. Who are you looking at particularly that you want to get, notch up and make sure you beat?
Well, you pick an easy one and we'll try and beat him, but there's no easy ones out there. They're all top players, and we don't expect an easy match.
Who are you relying on? It's a team thing, I know, but obviously they've got to get there individually and win the frame for you.
Everyone's got the same pressure on them, mate. We're not relying on anyone in particular. We've just all got to do the same job out there.
All right, we'll have a quick word, if I can, sure, with, well, Tim Shelton's just here, and Tim, obviously you played a big part in this team, and it's a good camaraderie between all of you. You're looking forward to this?
Oh, very much so. Been looking forward to this for 10 years, being here for the very first time. It's a good opportunity, and you don't get too many of them. So we're really looking forward to it, and I think the team's going to perform really well.
Well, I know that he's staying in the back. He's been very modest, but the world champion is just back here. That is, of course, Quinton Hahn, but it is one frame. It's very hard. You can't do what you do best, which is to win a lot of frames. You've got to get out there and win very cutthroat. So it's very, the important thing is to get a break very quickly.
Yeah, I think luck's going to play a big part in it, and we've all got to perform.
You've come a long way. Can you win it?
I think we're in with a 50-50 chance.
Beat them in the
realistically.
Realistically, a 50-50 chance, but I can tell you, I think the confidence is fairly high amongst these Australians. Back to you, David.
Yes, I'm sure it is. The Aussies actually very determined. But what about England? They, of course, are the defending champions. Jonathan has really been busy. It's now his turn to talk to the England team.
Well, England are the current champions, and in fact, they've won this event 5 times and seem to be in the final every time. Jim Morris has got this team together. He knows how to work them. He knows how to get them excited and get them ready for this. And Jim Morris, first of all, here you go again. This is the same thing again as last year and years before. Can you do it again?
I'm confident we can do it again. It's not going to be easy. Australia are a tough team. They've already beaten us in the qualifying rounds. But I think we can do it, and I'm sure our team think we can do it. But it's also nice to see the Northern Hemisphere and the Southern Hemisphere. Now it is a true world final.
Yeah, no question about it. I'll move to Darren Appleton. Darren, this is obviously, as always, a very strong team, but it's always hard to, understand whether you can win the team's final or not, because it's very much a confidence thing. It's only one frame. It's very cutthroat, isn't it?
The one frame is like it makes it very difficult, but the lads are feeling very good, and looking forward to the match now. We're focused for it, and we're going to win about 11-5, 11-6.
Ooh, prediction there, 11-5, 11-6. Chris Melling, obviously, you know, you're the talk of the town at the moment. Everybody's talking about how well you're playing. Are you confident that you can, you know, hold up in one frame?
Yeah, I'm very confident. Like the individuals, it's different, but the team, I think we'll definitely win, definitely.
There's a lot of confidence here, I have to say. Lee, I'll end up with you. You've been in this situation many times before. What's the key? I mean, you guys obviously G each other up and give each other advice, but what do you say to the guys, and how do you go about attempting to win the World Teams final?
Well, we're just a good set of lads, good friends, good team spirit. We're the best players in the world, so what better formula you can have?
Boy, I tell you what, there's some confidence here amongst the England team. Back to you, David.
Johnny, thank you very much indeed. So we are just about ready to go. Final word from our studio guest, Neil Blake. How do you see this one going? Should be a great final.
I don't like saying this, but I think it's going to be a close England victory.
Why don't you like saying that?
I'm Welsh. Well, what more can I say?
Thanks very much, Neil. Back with you a little later. Right now, though, let's go down to the floor. We can now join our commentary lineup. It's Rob McKenna, Mike McDonald, and Jim White.
Thanks, David. Certainly a lot of confidence exuded in both sides. Captains really trying to get their teams in order mentally, physically. This is going to be a battle. Make no mistakes of that. Australia making their third appearance in the World Team Finals. The winners in '96, runners-up in '93. And Alec Evernatis, the only player to have represented that Australian side on both of those occasions and find himself here in this final.
Yeah, Jim, I think this is going to be a classic final. The 5 times world champions England against the 1-time world champions Australia. I think Australia have a great team, but my money would be in England, but they need a big start.
Well, Rob McKenna, for my money, this is one of the key players right there for England. Jason Twist. He won all 3 of his matches in their win against Wales, and unfortunately that's what puts you here beside me in the commentary box, Rob, but Jason really is a handful, isn't he?
Sure, Jason's in unbelievable form at the moment. I think he's won the
British,
the European title, and obviously he's still involved in the singles, so yeah, he's in fantastic form. And once again, it's the importance here for Australia to do well in this event is to get off to a really good start. If England get their nose in front, they're so hard to beat, and I think it'll be a runaway victory, but if Australia can stay with them and put a lot of pressure under them, then I think we're in for a really close match.
Well, as Jason surveys the situation here, it really is all about pressure, isn't it? The team competition presents a whole different kind of heat and immense pressure, because now you're not just playing for yourself, you're playing for your country, and all those other lads sat there beside you.
And sure, that one shot there shows it alone, Jim. If this was the singles event, there's no doubt whatsoever Jason would have been going for the clearance here. But he's got the weight of his country and all his teammates, and he's not prepared to put that under any pressure at all. He wants to make sure of every single frame he plays. They're always far more tactical affairs, team events and singles. And once again, here we're in early doors. This looks like it's going to be a very slow rack.
Yes, Alec tried to get that red inside that yellow. He won't be happy with that result. So England in a commanding position early on in this men's team final. Best of 21, the first team to reach 11 wins will hoist the hardware. England 5 times winners. In the 7 years this event has been in existence, they have been dominant and are always the team to beat.
Sure, when you look at the team, Jim, you see 8 absolutely outstanding players, and it's really hard to see how anybody can beat them, but Australia done it in the group, and I'm sure they're quite confident they're going to do it here as well.
Well, they did it in the round robin stages, Mike. They beat them 12-9 in the qualifying rounds en route to this final, so they can use that and build on confidence there.
That's right. I think if Australia plays as they did in the round robin sections, Jim, they're in with a great chance. But listen to the interviews earlier on, just prior to the match there with England. They're very, very confident, and you can be assured that Jim Morris will have them ready for this one.
Come on, Alex. Come on, mate.
Well, Jason, again, really in control here for England. They own the bottom right and the top left. And that one red nearest the black is an awkward position for Australia, and certainly the red top left. So a tall order for Alec Evernatis to try and pull this one out of the fire.
30 seconds.
Race a little bit shorter for the televised stages here, though. They make it a best of 21 as opposed to during the round robins. It's a little longer. They've got all day to play there. They format this a little bit more for television, a little quicker.
Sure, the format with the round robin stage, Jim, is everybody plays everybody. There's 11 teams, everybody plays everybody, and you need to play the whole 21 frames. Excuse me. You need to play every 21 frame to get the eventual table. And sometimes a team's tied on 12, 14 points each, and then it goes back on frames run over the whole matches. That's how you eventually get the table settled at the end. So I think we actually had a situation this time where there was 4 teams on 16 points, but it's the one who won the most racks eventually tops the group, which is, unfortunately for everybody, in Wales it was England this time.
Yeah. Yes, absolutely right. All 4 teams tied, in fact. England, Ireland, Australia, and Wales, all with 8 wins out of 10. But as you said, Rob, with the frames won and lost count back, England ended up securing first place by virtue of that count back.
Yes, they did. They're very lucky, I think. We have a situation here for Alex to get in this rack here. He needs to try and get control of the bottom pocket where the red and yellow is.
Well, he's got no other reds apart from that one there, so he might well just try and pot this. It just depends how he feels. And stretching, I can't see him trying to pot it.
No, he's just going to try and get the red inside the yellow. You can see there he's hit it very slow, and he's tried to just hang it on the pocket, but it just dropped in, and that's put Alex in a lot of trouble in this rack.
Always the danger, isn't it, Mike, when you're trying to cover pockets?
That's right. It either goes very well for you, Jim, or against you. And on that occasion, it's went against Alex. As Rob's just said, there's a lot of work to be done at the table for him now.
Go on.
Although Alex has played quite a good shot here, Jim, he's took control of that middle pocket by pushing the black up the dike. But really, Jason's still in control here. You'll be looking to push this one on the right-hand cushion down.
Yeah, Alex just moved the black there, Jim, because he fears that Jason's just about ready to go for the clearance, and if he does attempt the clearance, he wants to make the black as difficult as possible.
Well, again, securing his position, but it's all about the world team title. That's what these boys are here, and there's the cup. The eventual winners, they'll be very boisterous, passing that around above their heads. Drinking a little champagne from that one,
Yeah,
to be sure.
I'm sure they will.
Australian team there, and the manager just right center, JR, John Russell. It was very loud in Australians win over Ireland.
Sure, that was a great match. They proved the team spirit they've got in the camp there, because I think they were 9-4 down and a race to 11. The match is virtually dead, but they didn't give in. They kept plugging away, and they eventually come out with an 11-5 victory. 11-9 victory, sorry.
Yeah, they took 7 in a row, Rob. Tremendous effort from Australia there, and that certainly builds team spirit. And there's one of the players that will be counted on very heavily for Australia, the reigning world champion, Quinton Hahn. And he's a handful, won all 3 of his frames as well against Ireland. And you know, looking a little tired right now, but I can assure you he'll be up for it when his time comes and he's called.
Well, Jason, I think here, Jim, looking to push the yellow onto the yellow over the bottom right-hand pocket.
That's it goes.
That's exactly what he's doing.
Come on, Ice.
Take it into
Go on,
play.
come on.
The problem for Alex is the red up at the top, as you've already said, Jim.
Come on, Ice.
Chance here possibly for Alec to dislodge that difficult red. Well, he's got an outside chance here. Not easy, but you can see he's brought that red into play.
He's a little bit unfortunate there. He's just tied the black up a lot more than it was already. He's knocked the yellow in front of it, so for Alex to run the rack here, he's going to have to play a really good shot and develop the black.
Top shot.
That's a good shot.
Go, Alec, come on.
Steady player, isn't he?
That was a very controlled plant, yeah.
Eight is always going to be the problems. He's got a nice angle on this red, top of the table now. Screwing back, you know he's going to try and develop that 8 right here.
Just needs to make contact with the black ball and not the 8 ball. That's a fantastic shot.
That's a real momentum grabber, that shot. Chance to secure the frame now.
Sure, we've seen the way the rows can be played to your advantage here, Jim. Early on the rack, Alex was absolutely out of the game, no chance whatsoever winning it. He's just taking his time, bided his time, and he's eventually got himself in the rack, and he's got a relatively easy black here to put Australia 1-0 up.
And send Jason Twist to the loser's circle for the first time in the televised stages.
It's not a gimme, but he should really make the pot here.
Yeah! He's got it. Alec Everinatis takes the first frame for Australia. In this race to 11 men's team final, Australia leads England 1-0.
Second frame, England to break, trailing 1 frame to 0.
Well, the 21-year-old youngest player on the team, Chris Melling now at the table, breaking off for England. And what a prospect this is. Two very prolific potters, head to head. Melling from England, and look who he's up against. The reigning world champion, Quinton Hahn.
Nothing again off the break, Jim. How many times we've seen that this week?
Yeah, can prove the difference between winning and losing.
Red ball's in play.
Well, not an easy task here to try and clear up on the reds. But if there's any man that could pull it out, it's the gentleman at the table.
Yeah, once again, his problem here is the red and the black on the bottom left-hand corner pocket. The other 4 reds are very easily pottable, but to run the rack here, he needs to develop them too. I'm sure he's going to be looking to leave an angle on the red that's on the very bottom of the table, close to the black spot, if you like, on a snooker table. That's going to be his ball to develop the other 2. He'd be looking to land straight on this, just to run through for the red on the right-hand side of the table.
He's such a confident player. Every time he strides to the table, it's in attacking mode. Just bump the yellow out of the way here.
That's a tremendous shot, Jim. Exactly what Rob said he was going to do.
Well, this is some kind of start from Australia. Just what they would have wanted. The 8 down, and the Aussies 2-0 ahead of the fancied English side. Quinton Hahn, a terrific performance there, following the break straight in off to secure the frame for Australia. Tim Shelton breaking off. Frame 3 already, 2-0 Australia. just the sort of start they would have wanted. Other than that, that's a showstopper.
Certainly is, Jim. What can Phil make of this? Young Phil Harrison, a star of the England team, as we all know. He's got to make good with this visit.
Yeah, that's about the best break we've seen up to now, but unfortunately for Tim, he's gone in off in the centre pocket. He's just lost the wide a little bit, and he's given Phil a great chance to put England in the match here.
And reds or yellows, all wide open.
Yeah, I make yellow slight favourites here, Jim. It's there's a couple of tricky reds, and to create the clearance here, the yellows would be that little bit easier.
That's exactly what he's going for, Rob. The yellows, he favours them.
I know what I'm on about, Mike, don't worry.
Yeah, I know that, mate.
Yellow ball's in play.
I used to play this game, you know.
Yeah, and twice Embassy champion too.
No, it was a long time ago.
Well, you can expect a Christmas card now in the mail, Mike, just mentioning that Rob was a two-time Embassy champion. And no one more qualified to be sat here beside us and talking about this. What a miss there from Phil Harrison.
Yes, I've seen this so many times, Jim. It's a team, England are a team full of stars and quality players, but once you get in front of them and rattle them, and Australia proved in the group stages that if you do get in front of them and put a lot of pressure on them, they're human, it seems, everybody else.
They turn into singles players.
Of course they do, yeah. And you're only getting one chance at the table sometimes, and it's with the team event. Sometimes you don't get a shot, and it's put some pressure on these lads, and then they're
30 seconds.
very easy to beat.
Desperately close to that red. His waistcoat here, got to be so careful. He's less than an inch away from it.
Well, I think he was overstretching there, Jim. He wasn't happy.
Well, these pockets looking a little bit unforgiving in this third frame.
Sure, early on in the event, when the cloth is brand new, the pockets slide and they're a little bit bigger, but as the event goes on, they do tighten up a little bit, and as we've seen there, that he looked like he's made the pot there, but it's just lipped, and he's given England another really good chance to get in the match.
30 seconds.
Yeah, it's quite a clever shot Phil's played there. He's cleared the left-hand corner pocket because that's what he's aiming to put the yellow on the black.
There's many followers of this English side, and there's one of them, Lisa Quick, the reigning world ladies champion. The Embassy champion here to defend her title. And Phil Harrison looking to keep England on track, much to Lisa's enjoyment, I'm sure. I'm not sure what's happened.
Oh, that's unbelievable. The red on the bottom right-hand corner pocket's dropped in. It causes a standard foul. It's not a two-visit situation.
Watch
just
this.
see it here.
The vibration causing that red on the bottom right to drop. Unbelievable. Well, I've never seen that before. We're in our 8th year here. There's our referee, Melvin Hurley. He's
30 seconds.
obviously had to call that one. Rob, that can't happen very often, that.
It doesn't happen very often, but unfortunately for England, it could have proved a costly mistake, but Tim's been playing a very loose shot there, and he's given Phil a clear chance of potting the black here. Here we see it once again. Just the pressure Phil's put on the table there has caused a slight vibration, and he's just knocked the red in. But once again, he's got a clear chance here to win the rack for England.
Yes, oh, he deserved that, fully deserved that. The 8 down, and Phil Harrison brings England back 2-1. But what a different sort of frame that was.
Yeah, a little bit of justice there, I believe.
Fourth frame, England to break, trailing 2 frames to 1.
Come on.
Mick Hill breaking off for England now, up against one of the stalwarts really for the Australian side, Mark Williams. And Mark Williams led the tables for Australia. Of the 30 frames he played, he won 21 of them during the round-robin stages. He had the best average of the whole team. So a tall order for Mick Hill.
Red ball's in play.
Yes, we've seen a lot of Mark in the group stages, and he's been so solid all week. And I'm sure he'll be looking to put a really good performance in the final. But once again, you need to get to the table, and early stage here would appear that Mick's got a relatively easy rack here, but there's still a little bit of pressure out there, and I'm just sure Mark will be hoping to get to the table.
He's played a good shot there for Rob.
Sure. Again, there doesn't appear to be a problem. The hardest red he's got is probably the red on the right-hand corner pocket, but that's going to be reasonably simple to get to because he's going to leave the red on the left-hand corner pocket his last but one ball. The red in the right-hand corner pocket will be his last ball for the black in the opposite corner. I'm sure that's the route he's going to be looking to be take, but once again...
You follow that, Mike?
Yep, totally agree with that.
30 seconds.
Lost me after the second red.
A little bit surprised Mick left the red into the right-hand centre there because he's just dealing in fractions there to make sure he's got the right angle, but I think he's played a reasonably good shot. No, he can't have the right angle. You see there, he's just left himself the wrong angle to get to the red where he wants to get, so he needs to go a completely different route now. He needs to just drop this red in the left-hand centre to place the right in the right-hand corner pocket.
30 seconds.
Lee Kendall, Darren Appleton there now looking on. He'll be following Mick Hill. He's hoping that he's going to be seeing a 2-2 scoreline as opposed to 3-1 behind.
See, he's had to go a completely different route here from the way he planned to finish.
Yellow ball's in play.
Well, again, these pockets, very unsympathetic.
I think he's slightly fortunate that's actually hung in the pocket as well. If that didn't hang in the pocket there, it would have left a reasonably easy finish for Mark Williams.
Looking at the table there, Rob, the only saving grace that Mick has now is the yellow ball at the bottom of the table with the red ball blocking it. That'll take some work to develop it.
Sure. I think what Mark may try and do here is try and take control of the bottom right-hand corner pocket with the yellow. Obviously, in the meantime, trying to stop Mick from making a clearance, because that is Mick's most difficult ball.
Come on, Ozzy.
Well, he could look at it right here. Yellow down the right cushion if he does decide to guard that bottom right pocket.
I'm not sure you want to do it now, Jim, because if he hangs the yellow in the pocket, he's leaving Mick a chance of cutting the red across the bottom rail to make a plant. So I think he's chose the right option. You try and cover it with this one. The white's on the left-hand side of the table. Yeah, that's a much better option.
Sure. Come in, Mike.
He just didn't want to leave the white on the right-hand side of the table to allow Mick Hill to cut the red over. But I think he may just have left the double here. Oh, the door's still open. There may be enough room there for that yet red to sneak past the yellow.
There's always a few options available. He's looking at the double right now.
30 seconds.
Obviously the cue ball gets through, but not easy. And
That's a great strike.
Jim Morrison very happy about that one. Little cue power. And what a delivery there.
Yeah, he's cued straight through that one. It's a beautiful strike.
And now the double red onto the red over the bottom left.
He's still looking to see if the red passes the red, but I can't really see the problem in playing the double. I think that's the safer option. He's just lining up there how he wants the red to connect onto the other red to make sure the red he's doubling over stays close to the pocket.
Has he left it on, though?
Just cut the red a little bit thin, and he's let the white get away from him too.
Yeah, this is a much harder shot now. Can he see enough of the red to get it in?
I think he can make the potting angle, Mike, but I'm not dead. Yeah, he can make the potting angle, but the white's travelling too far away from the black to make it comfortable. He just wanted to contact this red a little bit fuller, and then the red he's doubled over would have stayed on the pocket. Still possible, but a lot more difficult than it should have been.
30 seconds.
Well, he's made the pot and he's developed the black, Rob.
Well, Mick Hill bringing England back. They were 2-0 down. They've won the last two, and now it's all square in this best of 21 men's final.
Australia to break. 2 frames all.
Breaking off Ricky Flood from Australia, looking to try and regain the initiative that England has yanked out of Australia's possession.
Open table.
Well, the Reds look big favorite here.
Yeah, he hasn't really got into the break at all there, Jim. I think he's just trying to make sure the white doesn't go off and give control to England. But you can't really afford to do that. You really need to be hitting the balls as hard as you can and making a ball to get control of the rack.
Well, he's going for yellows.
Sure,
that yellow must pass bottom right between the two reds.
Sure, yeah. I think he's going to be either just trying to cover the pocket, or he'll take the yellow probably off the 2 reds, and that'll clear the pocket.
Oh, there you see, you can play it off that red on the right-hand side of your picture. That's exactly what he's doing.
Yeah, he's just begun off the 1 red here, Jim. Oh, no, he's tried the 2, as I said, but... Yeah, they just haven't settled yet, the England team. I'm not sure what it is. I think they're a little bit wary of the Australian team. They know they can be beaten, and it's showing in their performance, have they now?
Yeah, sorry for interrupting there, Rob. It was the same during that magnificent semi-final between England and Wales. They had flashes of brilliance from time to time, but the majority of the game they just couldn't quite find that top gear.
Well, they get another chance a little quicker than they would have expected.
That's the last thing you can afford to do. When you play in England, every single little chance you get, you really need to punish them. Otherwise, the more you give England chances, the more confident they get, and they'll just steamroll you.
No, very subdued Australian side. Tim Shelton again, I think, reflecting on the chance he had against Phil Harrison. Now another problem for Australia, the 2 reds on the left side of the table that are wedged together. They'll have to be developed.
Yeah, I think he's very quickly left himself the angle off the yellow on the corner pocket to develop the yellow that's tied up to the red. And then this would just be a soft screw, develop the yellow must go.
And that looks perfect,
Sure,
straight
yeah.
in the top corner pocket.
Yeah, I thought he needed to develop that, but he's played a really clever shot, and I think he's played position on it in the top left-hand corner.
What do you think, Rob? Looking to pot it, the long pot into top left corner and hold the white to push the yellow into the bottom left?
I'm not sure, Mike. If this yellow that's closest to the white actually goes into the right-hand corner pocket, then he may just leave that as his last ball, but if it doesn't, then he'll need to take it now.
30 seconds.
We'll tell this yellow obviously does go into the right-hand corner pocket, so the way he's going to go about the finish here, leave that yellow till last. That's going to be the easiest ball to get in the black.
Yes, he's weighed it up, and this really isn't going to be too difficult at all after that good yellow.
No, sure. This looks like yellow into the centre. Last but 1 yellow into the right-hand corner pocket, leaving a very easy yellow to get into the black. Oh, once again, this is early nerves from the England team. You'd never ever see Darren Appleton missing a pot like that. They're obviously feeling the pressure. This is so simple a pot. It's unbelievable. You would never ever have Darren Appleton to miss that pot, and the red was there as well to make the pocket that much bigger.
Well, I've had the privilege now for the last 3 years to watch all the top players, including yourself, Rob, on the World and European Championships, and I've never seen Darren play a shot like that. That early 2-0 lead that Australia took in, I think it's got to the English team.
30 seconds.
Sure, this is early news, but once again, Australia really need to capitalise and punish England for making mistakes like that.
Will he play this red off the yellow into the center pocket to clear it?
That's definitely the shot, Jim. Whether he's got the angle at the moment, I'm not sure, because the white may be travelling away from him. But that's definitely the shot. He needs to develop that red that's closest to the yellow, and this is the best chance he may get to do it. Here we go, red into the centre, off the yellow to develop the other red. No, he's just missed the cannon onto the yellow.
Well, it was never going to be easy, just needed to flick that yellow. Ricky Flood, so good in his television debut here for Australia. Against Ireland, he was the reserve, called up in the second session, won both his matches, and in fact was the last player on the table to secure this final berth here for Australia.
Thirty seconds.
A super pot once more, but it's not really benefited him in what he's trying to do. He's trying to take control of the bottom left-hand corner pocket, because that's where Darren has a yellow, which is going to be his ball to get onto the black. A little bit unfortunate there.
There was a very concerned look on the Australian side there, wasn't there?
Yeah, there was. They had an early 2-0 lead, as we said. They had a really good chance to make it 3-0, didn't take it. Once again, we've seen the England player, Mick Hill, come to the table, taking out a great clearance, 2-0, and the pressure's back on Australia.
I get a feeling, Mike, that they're all wondering what exactly Ricky's doing.
That's right. I just can't see the logic in what he's doing at all, Jim. That red ball to the centre right is going to be a hard ball to develop from where he is now. And where the yellow balls are lying, if Ricky does make a mistake here,
30 seconds.
then I'm sure Darren Appleton won't make two major mistakes in one frame.
Is he trying to double this into the opposite center?
That's what he's doing.
I'm not sure this shot's on, Jim, to be honest. Yeah, I just don't think that shot was even on. I'm quite surprised Ricky's taken that one on. I don't think the doubling angle was there with that yellow in the way.
Got himself into so much trouble there.
Sure, it's once you start going for the clearance, you need to try and see it through and try and pot your way out of trouble, and Ricky's just run into a little bit too much trouble there. Slightly saving grace, he hasn't left Darren the easy starter with the yellow on the right-hand centre. Had Darren had that one to play now, the clearance would have been very, very routine, but now he needs to go up and down the table once or twice, which is going to make the clearance a little bit harder. No, that isn't what he wanted either, and I think he may take the yellow into the left-hand corner pocket now and try and leave himself the angle on the other yellow to get back down the table for the black. He obviously doesn't fancy that. He thinks the cut's a little bit too thin. But this isn't going to be easy to pop the yellow on the right-hand centre and get back down for that yellow on the bottom-hand side of the table.
It's all about white ball control there, Rob. If he goes for the one to the middle.
Sure, yeah. I thought this was the more sensible option. It's a slightly thinner cut, but it guarantees him the right angle on this yellow on the right-hand centre. He's let that one get slightly away as well. This is a little bit harder than it needed to be. That shouldn't really cause him any problems.
Well, after a few anxious moments, Darren Appleton deposits the 8, and for the first time in this men's final, England see a lead. The narrowest of margins, they're in front of Australia 3-2.
Yeah, and he'll feel fortunate, Jim, that he got that frame after that very bad miss into the middle. They still need to find a gear, I think, Jim.
Well, good shot here on the yellow, though, and eventually he secured the frame with a couple good pots. But as I said, it wasn't without a few anxious moments.
And as Rob said, this one slightly got away from him as well, but he came out with a fine pot to clinch the frame.
Australia just doesn't quite have the sort of grit and determination that you see from the English side. They're all so good. It doesn't matter what player comes out. All the other boys have the utmost confidence in them, and with Australia, you just don't get that same sense.
Well, I was watching them during that last frame, Jim, and I mean, they're in this final. It's only 4-2, and they look very dejected, looking up at the stars.
7th frame, Australia to break.
Sure, once
Trailing
again, once
4
you look
frames
at the
to
England
2.
lineup, every single one of them, prolific big tournament winners, every one of them, and there's not many teams you can say that about. Well, virtually England, the only team that's ever been in that situation.
Good break off from Sean Budd here. Open table. This is the sort of break you want. Powerful left-hander. Leaning into that break shot with the cue. Well, that's just opened everything up.
Yeah, it was a nice shot Sean played there. He's tried to develop the one difficult red he had straight away, and he's done that. And it looks like a reasonably comfortable clearance here. Is one difficult red being the one on the top end of the table.
And one that Australia needs desperately.
Yeah, I think they must take this frame to take the challenge back to England.
And he's played a very good shot there, trying to develop trying to get onto the very difficult ball straight away.
The Australian, sorry Rob, I was just about to say there, the Australian side looking a bit more animated now.
Just let that one get slightly away from him. That isn't really where he wanted to be here. He's just made things a little bit more difficult than they need to be.
Lots of supporters for the Australian team as well. Members of the ladies' side.
Once again, that loose shot he played from the red in the top half of the table is causing him a lot of problems. He needs to manufacture some sort of shot here to pop the red into the left-hand centre, slight screw around 3 angles for the final red into the right-hand corner pocket.
Well, the yellow's wide open for Keith Brewer in England now. And the Australian team manager, he wonders where it all went wrong.
Well, I think he concentrated too much on the position there, Jim. Slightly forgot about the pot.
Yeah, and I can't see Keith making any mistakes here.
No, with reference to what you said just as the frame started here, Jim, I think, in my opinion, Keith Brewer's one of the top 3 one-frame specialists in the world. Tremendous anchor man in any team.
Won all his frames in their win over Wales. Didn't have to play his final one, but he's always there, and what a memorable frame he played last year against Ireland in the final, where they secured victory 11-10. The snooker that Keith Brewer played there, well, they'll talk about that for a long time under immense pressure. Now, what about that miss?
Yeah, he's made a mistake, but it's not that bad, you know.
Well, shot selection helped there.
Sure, he's played a shot there. I don't think he was 100% confident at the pot. That's why he's put the white in that area there. He knew exactly where he was leaving the white, because he knew if he missed the pot, he wasn't leaving Sean any real easy starter. Oh my word! That's a superb shot.
Well, I think he can get through to this, Red. What a shot this is!
That's a great double. Once again, come round 3 angles, and I think he's actually left himself a shot into the centre pocket there. This could be a massive frame for Australia. Yeah, as you can see, you can reach the pot angle. And this is a massive shot. This either gets Australia in the match or helps England running away with the match.
That's
It's
a great
there.
shot.
Great effort from Sean Budd. The mistake from Keith Brewer was capitalized on, and they pull one back to trail England 4-3.
So after a terrific start for Australia, England hitting back, but as we've just seen from Sean Budd, they're not out of this yet, and that was a very important frame for Australia.
That's right. Sean had a great break on that one. Didn't take it out at the first opportunity. Keith had a miss.
Yeah, it was a very good break.
Two balls off the break. He had the choice of the balls. Great break.
As he came to the table, you said he's a very positive player. He's going to go for it, and he sure did. And
That's right.
This is a terrific double.
That's right. He had opportunity before this. He missed it. Keith let him in again, give him that shot, and bang, took it away, got the frame off it.
So this match still very much alive then, nicely poised.
Oh yeah, 4-3, anybody's game, anybody's game.
Frame 8, England to break.
Jason Twist breaking off here now, frame 8.
Open table.
Come on.
You just saw Keith Brewer really toss one away, Rob.
Yeah, that's not really what you'd expect from Keith in that situation. So strong, one frame. But he's opened the door back up for Australia.
Well, he's up against Tim Shelton here, and we saw Tim Shelton play a very loose frame in his first one. Wonder if the nerves have settled any for him.
30 seconds.
Apparently not. You can't miss balls like that against Jason Twist.
He's had a very good chance here. He just needed to make a yellow there, and he would have had control of the rack. But just handed it straight back to Jason Twist. And I don't think we'll see Jason make the same
Yellow
mistake
balls
here.
in play.
Once again, Jim, we're seeing you always get chances against England. They're obviously a quality team, but you always get chances, and it's just a matter of taking them.
And at the end of the day, that's all you can ever ask.
Sure. Whether it's singles event, team event, you just ask for chances to win the game. And up until now, Australia can't really say they haven't had the chances.
Well, you know what's funny in this is, to my notes and my way of thinking, the real key men for England were Jason Twist and Keith Brewer. They were the real bankers. They both lost their opening frames in the first session, and yet England still find themselves 4-3 in front.
Well, Jim, that just shows the depth of quality in the team. When one or two players falter, the others come behind them and support it and do the business on the table.
Yeah, that shows the value of having a quality squad.
Doesn't matter who they pass the baton to, they can run. Making short work of this one is the Tornado. And this 8 to reestablish that two-frame cushion for England. Down it goes, and England now 5-3 in front of Australia, courtesy of Jason the Tornado Twist. Young Chris Melling from Keighley. They call him the Keighley Q-Boy.
Most of us call him Lala.
9th frame, Australia to break, trailing 5 frames to 3.
Well, breaking off. Well, there goes the 8, so it's just going to be a re-rack. Mark Williams depositing the 8. You don't see that very often, but, you know, I can tell you guys that in North America, if you do that and make the 8 all by itself, it's a win.
I think that's what Mark Williams would have been hoping for there. But he'd be delighted to see the black one in there because it didn't really...
Sorry, what's that?
Well, the same to up the table, Jim. What can they do with this second opportunity?
Player to restart the frame, no penalty.
Mark Williams kicking off frame 9. Needing something very positive with which the Australian side can build on. He's trying to produce it, and it didn't come in the form of that break. Open table now for the Keighley Q boy. Well, I've just been told I've been mispronouncing Chris Melling's hometown, Keighley. My apologies.
Red ball's in play.
To all the residents there. And to the ones that might be here supporting him and the English side. Big opportunity here for Chris. Just a quick check, I think, to see the availability of the Reds at the bottom of the table as he looks. Now, looks as though he's got his choice of plants here. Well, that one red will pass the bottom half of the pocket. Certainly, Rob, that's one option, but he's got the plant just left of the black here.
Yeah, a quick glance at that, Jim. It doesn't look like the plant on the two reds on the left-hand side of the table is available, so he'd be popping the red nearest to him, maybe canning the yellow out of the way and trying to give an angle to screw the white into the black to develop the tricky red. And he looks like he's got the perfect angle on that one. This would just be a soft screw trying to make contact with the black to develop the tricky red and leave himself on the other red. Just looking at there, the angle he wants to contact the black.
A 5-3 lead enjoyed by England. Little different stance.
Well, he's missed the cannon there, but he's been a little bit fortunate. He's still left himself on a red.
Yes, trying to cannon the 8 as you suggested, Rob.
Has he been fortunate? Is the red available in the top right-hand corner? Albeit not very easy, but it looks like it may be available.
Well, you got to believe it has to be the way he's played that shot.
Sure, he hasn't even. Yeah, it is available into the top right-hand corner pocket, and we'll know straight away whether he's made the pot or not. No, he's missed out by a long way. And once again, we see Australia hand on the table in control of the game, and it's imperative for Australia's cause that Mark Williams takes full advantage of this chance.
I'm going to try and extract the foul early. Develops the 2 awkward yellows, and in so doing, laying the snooker. This won't be a difficult escape.
Sure, Mark's not really concerned here whether he gets the 2 visits or not. If he does, great, it'll make the clean slot easier, but all the yellows are available, and he's just hoping now that Chris doesn't actually fluke the red and get on the black.
A little shake of the head there from Chris. And I'm sure he'll get out at this one.
Well, he's got the side cushion available straight into the red this way, but also if he elects to go to the top cushion, well, if he likes to go to the top cushion anyway, got a few extra lines there. He elected the easy escape.
Sure, he didn't extract the foul out of Chris there, but in opening the 2 yellows in the bottom hand corner pocket, he's paved the way for what looks like a routine clearance under normal situations, but we all know this isn't normal situations. This is the weight of all his teammates in his country on his shoulders.
In the finals of the World Team Championship.
Sure, but he's been really solid all week, and I would be slightly surprised if he didn't take the clearance here.
I think his teammates certainly feel he's going to. They're looking considerably happier than a few moments ago.
I'm sure they think this is one in the bag. And another point on the scoreboard.
And it really needs to be, Rob.
Absolutely, Mike. If Mark isn't successful here in getting a clearance and England were to take a 6-3 lead, then it would be really difficult to see how Australia could get back in the match.
Good shot, Mike, good shot.
Yeah, he's showing the form he's shown all week. That's a really well-controlled shot. He's given himself the perfect angle on this yellow to get back down for his final yellow.
Steady player, Mark Williams.
Sure, this is just another one that needs cued nice and straight. Nothing at all to do with the white ball, just make sure of the yellow. And its natural position on the black. That's a really nice clearance.
Yeah, that's a nice shot.
This is the pickup the Australian team needed.
Well, if they needed something positive to build on, Mark Williams has provided it. You can see him trying to lift the team to another gear. 5-4, England over Australia.
10th frame, England to
And
break.
Aussie captain
leading
Alec
5 frames
Evernatis,
to 4.
5-4 down. And he'll be up against the man at the table, Phil Harrison.
Yellow ball potted.
Well, that's sort of awkward right now, but getting a ball off the break, the first order of business, but certainly Phil Harrison will be looking to try and get England back on track. Tall order, though, against Alec Evernatis.
Yeah, Alec Evernatis is one of the top players in the world. He's a superb captain, and he's certainly got an aura about him. Very confident.
Surprising, really, that that Alec doesn't do a little better in the singles events. He is such an accomplished player and knows the tactics of the game. He's been
Yellow
coming
balls
over
in
here
play.
for 7. Well, this is the 8th year now, and you would have expected him to get to the later stages of a televised event.
Well, I've spoke to him about that, Jim, and what he says is he's here for Team Australia. That's his
Red
main
balls in play.
ambition, is to get Australia to be world team champions. And that is a distinct possibility still. Only 1 frame in it.
Far too nice a guy for me. Thinks about his teammates and not himself.
Yes, he's
Well-
a rare breed, Jim.
Well, they're certainly happy that he is.
I'm sure that he'd be looking to make a captain's innings here. If he can get Australia to the break 5-all, they'll be really pumped up and fired for it. And
Wow, great shot there.
that's a super pot, and he's developed one of his bad reds as well. See, he just soft screw off the side rail and knock the red out.
Alec took out Jason Twist in session 1. And there's the tornado right there. He can tell you how well Alec Evernatis can play.
He's slightly unlucky there. He's hampered by the red in the middle of the table.
That cue ball just inching past that red. Stopped a couple inches shorter, he would have had a choice and been firm favorite. Now he's got a little more work to do than he would have liked. And he still does have that difficult red on the right-hand side of the table as we look.
I think that's what he's angling towards there, Jim, trying to get an angle on the red in the top half of the table to develop the red that's on the right-hand side cushion. If he can cover the pocket there, he would have been happy, but he's just let that slip away a little bit. Difficult cue in mind, that wasn't easy.
No, always awkward when you're queuing. It's like that. Well, what can young Phil Harrison do here?
Well, he's got the same problem over on the right-hand side. His yellow is there as well. So for him to try and win at this visit.
Yeah, he's faced the same problem as Alec had. He's got the difficult yellow on the right-hand side of the table. And if either one of them is going to run the rack, they really need to develop the bad ball. But it's Phyllis at the table, and he's got the first opportunity to do it.
Well, that couldn't have worked out a lot better.
Sure, he's had a really fortunate little kiss there. Had he not kissed that, and then he wouldn't have had the angle on this yellow to perhaps develop the bad yellow. But it looks like he's had a really nice kiss, and the angle's there to do just that. That's slightly unfortunate. He's aimed to hit the yellow, but he's just cannoned the red full ball, and you can just see he just misses the yellow. Had he cannoned the yellow there, he would have been faced with a much easier pot. But he's still in control of the table. Not an awfully difficult pot here. It's just a matter of getting the right angle on the next yellow. And he looks to have done that very well.
That's an excellent shot, Rob. Nice control on the white ball there.
And slightly hampered by the red too. He's cued that one very well.
Darren Appleton really into this one.
Nice pot. There's the yellow this time into the middle right.
It's unclear whether he's got the perfect angle, Mike, to run through for the yellow. But the way he's leaning over there and checking what sort of angle he wants on the yellow, I would suggest he has. Yeah, he's got the perfect angle. He can get anywhere, he can get whatever he wants with this one. But still faced with a tricky pot, he needs to play this with quite a little bit of pace to get the white back out for the black. Unless he's just going to roll it in and leave himself a long black. Just a soft screw maybe, yeah. Yeah, he chose to go the easier option there just to make sure he gets to go to black.
And he hit that very well.
Yeah, didn't even touch the sides, as you can see. Here we go, the black left-hand corner for a 6-4 England lead.
Well, the black goes down. I think Phil Harrison thought that he had missed it. And after 10 frames, we see a 6-4 lead to England in this race to 11.
Well, that's a fascinating place to take a mid-session break. It really is looking good for England. Australia just a little bit up against it now. I mean, they would have wanted not to have lost that last frame.
That's right. If they could have kept 5-all, then they're in the match. They're in the match. But 6-4, it's favouring towards England at the moment, and they need to keep them pegged back.
Have you seen much evidence of nerves from both players?
Oh yes, all the way through. There's been little snibbly shots around.
Yeah, the boys on commentary were making the point that they've seen possibly the nerves really getting to them because this is the final of the World Team event, and it's not quite like anything else.
That's right. This is the big one. Both teams want it so much, but sometimes the pressure builds up.
Now, obviously, Australia got good hopes after they resume because Quinton Han is back in, the defending world champion. Not been over-convincing, perhaps, but I just wonder how you maybe will anticipate that one will go.
He's playing the European champion, Mick Hill.
Yeah.
And a great contrast, you know. They're both great players, and it'll be a good game to see.
Smashing. Thanks very much indeed, Neil. There we are. The players are taking a break. We shall do the same. See you again very soon. Welcome back to Blackpool for this Embassy World 8-Ball Pool Championship. We're at the interval in the men's team final event between England and Australia. England with a slight advantage at the moment. Let's go back now to Jim White.
Thanks, David. Well, yes, Australia 6-4 behind, and if you've got a little bit of a deficit to make up, who are you going to call? Quinton Han. He's the man coming to the table, the reigning Embassy World Pool Champion, to try and steady things for the Australian side.
Yellow ball potted.
Yellow made off the break. That certainly has been a trademark of Quinton's play last year, and every time we see him, he is so good with the break. He almost always controls the table.
Red ball's nominated.
So you have to feel that this could be a turning point. If Australia is to have any hope of wresting the crown, well, as I'm speaking, Quinton Han uncharacteristically misses the long color.
What you were going to say there, Jim, was absolutely right. They had to nail this frame. I feel if England take a 7-4 lead, the Aussies could be well up against it.
And in so doing, put Quinton Han aside because he is one of the ones that the Australians count on heavily.
That's right. They are relying on him a lot. And a very uncharacteristic mistake there. Let's Mick Hill to the table, and Quinton knows it.
30 seconds.
Yeah, not the sort of pot we'd expect Quinton to miss there.
Having said that, it's still pretty messy there. You can see the reds and yellows left center at the bottom of the picture, and going to have to develop those. There's one thing about these Embassy World Championships, teams and singles events, they always come with their surprises. And one can only wonder if this isn't going to be another one. A major shock, possibly on the cards, but still all to do for Australia. And Mick Hill is there to ensure there are no upsets.
Sure, Mick just exercising his rights there. If anyone is unsure what happened there, Quinton actually potted the yellow off the break. He's nominated reds, and as he hasn't potted a red off the break, he needs to make a red to make them his own. He hasn't done it, so it still leaves an open table for Mick.
30 seconds.
And that's a loose shot by Mick there. He's played to get about another 6-8 inches over the table.
He'll be looking to go up the table now, Rob.
Yeah, if he needs to continue this break here, he needs to go up to the top two reds.
Well, the English side not too pleased with that. They're 6-4 in front at this stage. It's a best of 21. And last year, England secured the Embassy crown with an 11-10 victory over Ireland.
Yeah, I'm sure the way England are playing, they'd be looking to make it a lot easier this time.
Good recovery there.
That's a great pot from Mick. And he's left himself the right angle on this red as well to continue the break. Once again, we've got a tricky red there. The two reds on the left-hand side of the table. The one which is to the right doesn't go anywhere, so Mick will be looking to leave an angle off the red that's on the left-hand side to disturb the other one. And I think he's just gone a little bit far with that.
Yeah, drifted slightly, Rob.
As you can see there, he's too straight. He can force an angle, but you lose all control when you force him with a lot of pace. So it's not really what Mick wanted to leave.
I don't believe he'll pot that red if he does try and force it.
Yeah, that's always a big problem. When you're trying to get a little bit too much out of it, things tend to go slightly astray. So he's probably looking for some other option. Maybe pot the red and try and get an angle on the other red to disturb that bad one. Yeah, as we were saying, he's tried to get a little bit too much out of it, and he's left himself in no man's land. It was way too straight to be getting into that red.
Amazing how that cue ball stops before it follows through, though. With all the pace that it was played, the difference in the weight between the white and the colors.
Sure, we play with a slightly smaller white ball than the object balls. And as you can see there, that's the effect it has on it. When playing with a lot of top, the white does stop for a split second, and then the top takes its effect.
Well, he's played an aggressive shot there, Rob. I'm just wondering if he's going to go for a wholehearted pot at the top left here.
Yeah, he had to, Mike. He committed himself to the clearance. There was no point in trying to consolidate there. It was all or nothing there for Mick. See Quinton just come to the table, a little smirk on his face. He knows this is one back to Australia.
Well, I think Mick Hill was smiling as he departed and realizing that he had just turned this one right over to Quinton Hahn and smiling outwardly, inwardly.
And Quinton just having a little bit of fun with Mick there. He's just played that one left-handed.
This won't take long.
Shouldn't do. There is still one more key shot to play. He needs to make sure he gets the correct angle on the yellow here.
And that's what he's done, Rob.
To leave himself the right angle on the top yellow to get back down for the black. It's all about angles, this game. And he seems to play that one fairly well. This is just a little soft screw. The white will come back over the right-hand side of the table, and I'm looking for him to get really close to the black here to make it a routine pot.
Maybe not this close.
Overcooked it.
Oh, that's perfect.
Yeah, he's got it.
Absolutely perfect. Just what I called.
He knows he's gotten lucky there.
I thought that was the only pocket he went in, the bottom left.
No, he's smiling, but if he misses this, I don't think he will be. And he has. Well, that smile isn't there now. That was very careless from Quinton Hahn.
He's had a lot of room to play there on the right-hand side of the table, and he's played a really loose shot, got too close to the black, and he just handed the initiative back to England. But he's got a tricky little pot here to start off his clearance, with no natural angle to get on the other red. So this is by no means easy, but he's done this so many times. I wouldn't be at all surprised if he made the clearance. And that's a super little shot.
It's a great shot. He's given himself a shot on the red.
Well, he's one very good pot away from a great victory here for Mick Hill. Big time pressure on this one. How about that?
Once again, it was just about cueing straight. There was nothing to do with the white ball.
Congratulations from the world champion, the Embassy world champion, and a big win for Mick Hill, and now a real long road back for Australia. 7-4 to England. Now it's down to Lee Kendall from England, up against Sean Budd. And Lee Kendall, the captain on the English side. You didn't see him in the first session. He's a substitute coming in for Carl Morris here. Again, a testament to the strength on the English team when the captain, the team captain, is a substitute.
Amazing. You always expect to see the team captain out there battling for his country.
All to do, though, for Australia right now. 8-4 behind, and Sean Budd at the table. And Sean Budd won his first frame against Keith Brewer. So you know he's confident.
Red Bull's nominated. Red Bull's in play. Come on, mate.
Well, they faced a 9-4 deficit against Ireland and came back. So who's to say 8-4 behind here? Can never count them out. This is familiar territory for the Australian team.
Yeah, great fighting qualities. A couple of times in the group stages they were well behind and managed to come back and record a victory. So it's obviously not within their grasp, but you just see they're all looking slightly dejected. They know full well that this match is slipping away from them. It's 8-4 down. They should at least be 7-5 in front. At worst 6-all. See Alec there, he's not looking too pleased. He's just perhaps hoping he may get back to the table for another try.
Well, we had a quick look to the heavens there, possibly hoping for a little divine intervention. Well, this looks very close.
Yeah, it's unclear there whether he can actually pot the red. Perhaps he may need a little swerve, a little bit of side to get around it, and he's played a super shot there.
A great shot. Alex there willing every single ball in, Jim. He knows how important this one is.
Well, as a captain should be, right there for every one of his teammates.
And this is another great effort from Sean. We've seen him take a wonderful instinctive clearance out on his last rack. But this is a little bit more routine. Last time he's come up with a wonderful double. This time it's all nice clear pots. You see Alec there just cheering him on. There doesn't appear to be any problem here. Red in the bottom left-hand corner. Screw the white back 12-18 inches for a reasonably easy black in the left-hand corner.
How does Lee Kendall feel? A substitute called in, doesn't get to the table.
Perhaps that's why he wasn't in the first session, Jim.
Well, Sean Budd completing a break and clearance, just what Australia needed. The tonic for the ailment. 8-5, England still in front.
Yeah, so are we going to see another wonderful Australian fight back? Here we go, the key to victory here. Just cue that one very well, just screw the white back 12, 18 inches for the black into the left-hand corner.
Yeah, two good performances from Sean Budd there. Very happy and talking to all the Australian supporters. Now it's Ricky Flood, again called upon. And he's up against Keith Brewer. Tall order. Keith Brewer lost his first frame. How often do you see him lose 2 in a row?
14th frame, England to break, leading 8 frames to 5.
He has the break here, Jim. Obviously, he'll be hoping to make a ball off the break, take control of the rack. And early signs there. There's another. Oh, Red's just popped in at the last roll.
Red ball spotted.
But Ricky will be quite pleased to see there. There's no easy clearance. He has made a ball. He's got the option now of choosing the best balls, which I'm sure he'll do. But early signs there. It doesn't look like a clear run out.
Yellow ball's in play.
Certainly a face of determination there, Rob. He knows what he's got to do. He's done it all so often.
Sure, and I wouldn't put any money on Keith going for clearance here. I think he may just stun the yellow into over the left-hand corner pocket, put the white behind the black and pile all the pressure back on Ricky.
It's a great shot.
And in so doing, covering up all the reds.
That's why he's such a great team player, Keith Brewer.
Total snooker.
Win at all costs.
Absolutely. See, Ricky's up against it here. He's in a total snooker here, which I'm sure he's called, but that's no real odds at the moment. He needs to make contact with the red.
Ricky Flood making his debut in this Embassy World Team Championship, whereas Keith Brewer has been on the English side for all 5 of their world titles.
Foul.
Oh, Ricky. That's very loose.
With all those reds on the table, there's no excuse there for not contacting one. Not sure which one he was trying to hit.
I think he was trying to hit the red in the middle of the 3 to try and pot it, which, you know, wouldn't have been any real value to him. He just had to consolidate there and make sure he never gave Keith 2 shots. With 2 shots here, visiting hand, I can't really see Keith making any mistake at all.
Yeah, you've got to fancy him for this one.
I don't think he'll mind that. He's still on the yellow right center.
He's in the yellow right center, and he's got the angle there to develop the tricky red at the top, the tricky yellow at the top of the table, sorry, which is right close to the red. And I wouldn't be surprised if we seen him try to develop that with this shot. But everything isn't clear. There's still a very tricky yellow on the left-hand side of the table.
30 seconds.
No shot there, developing the one awkward yellow. He wants to save that visit, obviously, that visit in hand from the foul for that yellow on the left cushion. Nice little shot here from Brewer.
Sure, what most people would try and do here is what I would try and do. I would try and develop the yellow over the centre pocket with this shot, trying to keep my 2 shots in hand, but I wouldn't be at all surprised if see Keith just drop this in, leave the angle to disturb the yellow over the left-hand middle to make it potable, and obviously paving the way for a much simpler clearance. But you get people like myself who try and do it in 1 shot and end up costing yourself, but this is obviously a team player, and he plays everything by the rules for the team match.
Well, this doesn't look too difficult. Just bump this yellow into the red to leave it over the middle.
He's played that well.
Again, all about leaving angle on the last yellow to get the right-hand side of the table. Because that 8 will be intended bottom left.
This is all about preference here, Jim. We've all got a preference of different ways we like to leave this. Some people may like to left it straight and screw the white straight back, but Keith opted to leave himself a slight angle, stun the white off the left-hand side of the cushion, bring the white over the right-hand side of the table, and
that's a lovely shot, Rob.
That's a very easy black now for a 9-4 lead.
9-4, England in front. of Australia, and very familiar grounds here for Australia now. That's what they were in front.
Frame, Australia to break, trailing 9 frames to 5.
And at 9-5, Australia breaking off. Quinton Hahn leading off this third session.
Red
He's
and yellow
1-1, 1 frame lost,
Red ball's in play.
to the win column. He's got to keep Australia on track here.
Remind me to voice that over, Mick.
Yeah, I'm sure he's going to be looking to make amends here for the last mistake he made in his last frame, where he had the frame at his mercy. He just let the white get slightly away from him and eventually lost the rack.
And Jason Twist from the English side. This is going to be a tough one to call.
Very quickly here, Quinton's got himself in a position where the clearance is on. He needs to play one key shot here from this red to leave himself an angle to get down to the awkward red. And that looks to be just about perfect. Stun the white over left-hand side of the table.
Yeah, it's a tremendous shot.
Again, this is a bit tricky because he needs to get the white back out for the black.
Just about like that.
And he's played the double kiss to perfection.
And very quickly, back again, 9-6 now to England. Australia still in with a shout. And this second last red, stunning over nicely to leave himself a chance at the victory.
Quinton there, Jim, giving Australia a glimmer of hope. A tremendous clearance.
England just 1 frame away from retaining the Embassy World Team title.
Big
and
smile on the
Phil
face.
Harrison wants to be the one to bring it home for England. Just 1 more frame required. Mark Williams wants to be the roadblock in Phil Harrison's path.
Yeah, Phil Harrison, one of the nicest lads you could ever wish to meet. Nobody really got a bad word to say about him. Goes out of his way to be nice to everyone.
10 frames to 6.
We mentioned that Australia actually defeated England in the round-robin stages of this competition. That doesn't count for much now.
Unfortunately, Jim, all they got for that was 2 points, but I think for an England victory here, they're going to be crowned world champions once more. There's
Really
more than 2 points at stake.
Well, it really should have given them a bit of confidence coming into this. And the way they kicked off, winning the first 2 frames, it looked like an upset might have been on the cards.
Sure, and they've had enough chances to win the match, but it's perhaps the big occasions got to them. And I mean, they're still not out of the match. It's only 10-6. There is, you know, a glimmer of hope for the Australian team, but the way England are starting to play now, can't really see anything but an England victory.
Yellow ball's in play.
And Phil Harrison actually has won both his frames to this point in this final.
Phil looking there just to push this yellow across to the right-hand side pocket. At the point, certainly to block it. And that's what he's done.
Red ball's in play.
He's left the door open slightly, but at this stage, there's not an obvious clearance on from Mark Williams, so it shouldn't be that crucial. That's a good confident plant there by Mark. He's dislodged the yellow out of the way and opened the pocket up for the remaining reds. But once again, I don't think we're going to see anything rash here. Just perhaps cover the pocket, because Phil's actually got 3 yellows there, which are going to be unpottable with that bottom corner pocket covered.
Sean Budd and again Captain Evernatis wondering if they're going to get another chance.
Foul. 2 visits.
We've just seen Phil concede the foul there, and in doing so, throwing the gauntlet down to Mark Williams, saying, "There's your 2 shots. Do with it what you can."
He's not in the best position for Rob to take advantage, I don't think.
No, that's the reason Phil's given the 2 shots there. He knows deep down the clearance isn't there, and he's just basically letting Mark see what he can do. Because Phil's taking control of the bottom right-hand corner pocket and putting himself in a very, very good position. He's just let that one slip away as well. He didn't want to pocket that one. He just wanted to cover the pocket. Things not looking particularly good at the moment, Mike.
I've got to agree with you, Rob. A lot of work to be done here. With the scoreline as it is, the confidence isn't high. And here we go. Phil with an opportunity here to develop these balls to his advantage. As you say, Rob, he's got complete control of the bottom right-hand corner. And now the bottom left. Nope.
Yeah, he's just taking total control. He's not willing to. This is the game England need to be crowned world champions again, and he doesn't want to be the one to let it slip away. He's got the game in his grasp. You can't really see Australia getting into this rack here.
Foul. 2 visits.
But there, Mark Williams once again, as we've seen so many times before, throwing the gauntlet down, giving your opponent 2 shots when you. The reason we do that is if you're in a situation where you don't think your opponent cleaned up with 2 shots and you think it would be to your advantage to clean the pocket away, and then we do that, we put the ball and say, just basically saying to your opponent, on you go, see what you can do. But it could be a very, very costly mistake if Phil was to get this clearance.
Well, I was just going to say there, Rob, before you said that, I don't think I'd have thrown down the gauntlet to Phil Harrison. Not at this stage of the game.
Absolutely. I think it was a very rash decision.
And Phil's walking around the table with a little spring in his step there, Rob.
Sure, yeah. What is an attempt here is an attempt the planted yellow, the yellow just below the black, onto the yellow on the left-hand corner, and in doing so disturb the other 2 yellows at the same time.
What about that? If that top yellow passes to the left center, this could be over and out.
Yeah, that goes okay, Jim. This is game, set, and match. This is yellow into the left-hand center. That's in. Easy 2 yellows, 2 visits in hand. Cannot really see any mistake here.
As you said, at the top of the frame, Rob, couldn't happen to a nicer guy.
Absolutely, yeah. Very pleased for Philly. He's won the frame that's crowned England as world champions again. But all in all, we must really say it's a great England victory. They've really deserved it. They've been in scintillating form all week. Once again, look at them, a line full of stars, managed by Jim Morris. And who could really stop this team winning this year?
Let's also pay tribute.
All it really has to do here is just bump the 8 into the side cushion and out over the middle. Doesn't need to attack it here.
Absolutely, 2 visits in hand. He's not gonna make any rash decision and try and pop the black in 1 visit. He's just gonna, as you say, Jim, bump the black off the side rail, off the cushion about 6-8 inches for the black into the right-hand centre. There you go. Come to perfection.
Second visit.
And the second visit in, and this for the title. The 8 goes down, and Phil Harrison and England have retained the World Team title. The Embassy crown stays in England. A great victory, 11-6 over a very game and fighting Australian team.
So it's congratulations then to England. They're the Embassy World Team Champions. Neil Blake with me in the studio enjoying that action. You called it right really, England too strong.
That's right. Australia didn't take their opportunities, and it's going to be a very long flight home for them.
One or two nervous moments for them. We said earlier they were making mistakes, but there was a little bit of inexperience too, wasn't there? You were making the point when Ben Bolton was playing, they were desperate to tell him which shot to make, and he was just a bit too raw.
That's right. There was a shot there where he could have played the black onto the red, pot in the yellow, and he would have had the game killed off, but didn't know what to play and lost the game for it.
So great victory for England. That means a lot to them because they obviously almost regard this as their own property. But it's a long journey back for Australia. No money for this, but you know, when they go back, it's just a sad feeling.
Oh, that's right. It'd be awful long the playing for him.
Yeah, and it does mean a lot to these teams, doesn't it? A lot of pride at stake. There's a lot of passion. We've seen it.
That's right. In the end, who doesn't want to be world team champions?
Neil, thanks very much indeed. More from him a little bit later, but right now we'll go down to join Jonathan.
Thank you, David. I think we'll have to call these guys the untouchables. Home internationals, European champions, and now 6 times world champions. And I know one man who is particularly happy about this will be Keith Brewer. Congratulations, Keith.
Thank you very much.
Tell me about the match, because obviously you were confident coming in, and we talked to you beforehand, but it's one thing to be confident, another thing to pull it off.
I think one of the hardest things coming into this tournament is that we always start the favourites, and we've got to try and live up to it. But the lads find it as a challenge, and especially like we lost to Australia a few years ago, and I think that was in the back of our minds coming into this match. And Australia played really well in the tournament. They beat us in the round-robin stage. So, yeah, the lads were up for it.
They certainly were, and they played very well. I talked to Jim Morris, who is the team manager of this team, and, well, they've never let you down yet, have they?
No, they've not. I can't praise them enough. But they're confident, but there's still some good teams to beat. Australia was one of them. They've already beat us, as Keith said, in the round-robin, and they were very good, and my commiserations to them.
Well, congratulations again to all of you. A brilliant performance once again. 6 times world champions. Let's go to the presentations now with Alan Hughes.
Thank you, Jonathan. And now we welcome the presentation party consisting of Graham Blashill, the Managing Director, UK Imperial Tobacco Limited, accompanied by our Tournament Director, George Harwood.
Yes, the presentation party coming in, the familiar sight for England, I'm sure. The World Team Trophy, the Embassy Trophy, presented to Captain Lee Kendall. That's the Managing Director, Graham Blashill. Just shaking hands with Lee Kendall. Very happy, Lee Kendall. His first look at captain, and what a performance by the England side. You just can't say enough for how dominant this team has been over the years. In its 8-year inception, England has won it 6 times. Unbelievable. And it gets passed around, and a good chance they're going to be drinking a little champagne out of that cup a little later tonight. And a very subdued Australian side. Understandably, they fought hard to get through to this final. But in the end, just too strong a team representing England yet again.
And ladies and gentlemen, let's not forget the runners-up, Team Australia.
So it's a great moment that for England, but a generous round of applause too there for Australia. They've gone down fighting, but a final word now from Neil Blake, our studio guest. Neil, England do seem to have made this their property. It's hard to see them losing their grip on this title. They're so good.
That's right. I think that's 6th or 7th time winners. Fantastic. Well done, England.
For the moment, they're very much in charge, probably going to stay that way maybe for the foreseeable future.
Well, hopefully Wales will have a crack at them next time, but they've got 8 strong players. They're very good.
Neil, thanks very much indeed. Enjoyed your company. Hope you enjoyed the match. There we are. That's it for now from Blackpool. Hope you enjoyed it. Coming up next on Sky Sports in this series will be the quarter-finals. Look forward to that in that men's event. In the meantime, from all of us here, it's goodbye.